focus on your task at hand, whatever it is. Right? And you know that for the next 15 minutes until this sand timer runs out, I am focused on doing this one thing, and that's it. Winning the day does not mean 100% perfection. I do not have perfect days. Zero. I am 0% perfect. But what I am is consistent.
Happy birthday to you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the nohalfcakespodcast. My name is Jim Sabellico. I am your host here of this very podcast you're listening to right now. And thank you for being here. It means a lot to me. But let's get into it, because today is a strategy sprinkle. And strategy sprinkles, if you are not familiar, are a practical, tactical tip to help you level up in your personal or professional life. Now, this is just one format of the show. Again, if you're not familiar, so you understand, on Mondays, I have a Mindset Monday, which is a short form episode meant to give you just a small, powerful, positive mindset to help you carry through the week. And then Wednesdays, I have my full-length version of the show. It's a sit-down, a real raw conversation with someone who's done some stuff in life. Talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and you sit along for the ride. Those are usually my favorite episodes. We tend to have a lot of open, honest, and raw conversations, and learn a lot along the way. They're just good to listen to. But being a strategy sprinkle today, what I want to do is I want to give you a practical, tactical tip to help you level up in your personal or professional life. And today I want to talk to you about the Pomodoro Technique. Time is one of my favorite topics, because it is one of the things that I think if you can master time, you've got it covered, right? Time, in my opinion, is one of the most valuable resources you have available to you, because it's finite, right? You can't create more of it. You don't even know how much you have. All of us are given a certain amount, and we don't know what that supply is, but we are responsible to utilize it and steward it in the best way possible. But a lot of us don't. And what we wind up doing is we wind up wasting our time, either just scrolling through social media or not being productive because we are whatever. We're just not stewarding it well. Okay, and it happens. And even if you are quote unquote busy, right? Let's say you're not on social, you're not distracted from what you're supposed to be doing. Doesn't necessarily mean you're utilizing it well. I've seen a lot of people who wear busy as a badge of honor. They say, oh, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. And they're doing stuff, but it's just not moving the needle. It's not getting enough things actually accomplished, to the point that they're occupying an 8-hour workday. And at the end of it, they come home and they're tired and they're drained and they've got nothing left for their family, for themselves. But they look back on it, and what did they actually accomplish? Not as much as they should have. And then they go back to work tomorrow and do the same thing all over again. And it's this vicious cycle, because they have not mastered the efficiency of time. And so that's why this week what I want to cover is something called the Pomodoro effect. Now, Pomodoro, what this refers to is actually it's an Italian word that means tomato. You may have seen in some kitchens, they have like a little timer, looks like a tomato. And like you spin the top and it sets a timer for however many minutes you're using it to cook your tomato sauce or whatever it is you're cooking. That was sort of the origin of this. But a lot of people either have an app or, like myself, actually have a sand timer. Okay, this thing. So I have one of these on my desk. This one is 15 minutes in duration. And what the idea here is you set this timer, right? So I'll flip it upside down. And now for exactly 15 minutes, the sand will fall from the top of this to the bottom. And once all the sand runs out, I know 15 minutes has passed. Now, what you do in that 15 minutes, or the common time is usually 25 minutes, but again, it's really the technique more so than the specific time, is focus on a task. Okay, and I'm like laser locked in, focus on a task. So you set this timer. Again, you can use an app. You could use whatever you want to track the time, doesn't really matter. But what you want is typically something standalone device. That's not your phone or a website or something, because you don't want to get distracted, right? That's the whole purpose of this, is to be as distraction-free and as locked in as possible. So the way that I recommend doing this is you take your phone, you put it out of arm's reach, turn that sucker on silent, put it on vibrate, put it other side of the room, put it in a drawer, put it somewhere else. Remove as many distractions and notifications as you can. Okay, this is really critical. This is actually being able to lock in and be focused on the thing that you're supposed to be doing. Okay, and so for this 15, 20, 25 minutes, whatever the period in time you start with is, I'd recommend start on 15, keep it really simple. You focus on your task at hand, whatever it is, right? And you know that for the next 15 minutes, until this sand timer runs out, I am focused on doing this one thing, and that's it. You are not distracted by the sound of your phone going off. You're not distracted by your email. You're not distracted by your social media. You're not distracted by anything else. You are focused 100% on this task. And when that timer goes off, when that 15 minutes has passed, you stop, you get up, take a stretch, take a walk around the room, grab a drink of water, go do a couple push-ups, whatever it is, come back and repeat. Okay, but again, the idea here is to really lock in and be able to focus on a task. One of the things that I see a lot of people suffer with is distractions, right? If you could sit at your desk or whatever your work environment is and focus on the task at hand without being distracted by all the other things that pop up in the course of your day, you'd be a lot more productive. But what winds up happening is we get sidetracked by all these other things that are calling for our attention, and our priorities tend to get pushed off by other things that are calling for our attention. So to be able to gain control and discipline over our own attention and be able to sit there and say, hey, these are the most important things that are going to move the needle forward in my life, whether that's personal, professional, whatever it is, right? And this is, again, part of a longer conversation, but we're trying to keep this on task for right now. As you start to figure out what are the big rocks in my life, what are the most important things that are going to move the needle forward, again, that could be in your personal life, professional life, your financial life, spiritual life, whatever that may look like. You knock those things out first. You say, these 5 things are critical for me to do today to move my needle forward, to be able to have a productive day so that I know, hey, at the end of it, I've accomplished at least 5 things that are going to help me tomorrow be a better me, right? You're going to want to be a tad better tomorrow than you were today. Talk about that a lot, making incremental improvements. And that's key for this, because you're not going to make this shift overnight. It's not going to be that simple. But you start slowly and consistently improving on that. And the more that you do that, I'll be honest with you, I do not use this as much as I used to. I use it sometimes, but for the majority of the time, I don't need to use it anymore because I've built such a discipline of being able to do these things without relying on the device to kind of lock in my concentration and my discipline. So as you start to build up discipline and routine in this, you can start to get a little bit more natural and a little bit more comfortable doing it without having to rely on a timer or some other device where, honestly, at this point, I do not even know physically in the world where my phone is right now. Couldn't care less. I am locked into my day. I know in the course of my day, I've got 2 podcast interviews. I've got this video to make. I've got an email to send. Those are the most important things that I have to do today. Whatever else is going on is okay. There are enough people, systems, and processes in place that whatever happens, the world will not burn down. I will be able to sit here and focus on what I have to do first. And when I'm done, then I can go get the recap. Okay, that's a very big, important part of this. And that's going to take some time to build. We'll talk about the systems, people, and processes at some point in the future. But for right now, what I want you to try is, I want you to try sitting down at your desk or whatever your work environment is. And this very well could be house chores. If one of the things that you suffer with is laundry, okay, again, whatever, pick the thing that you need to focus on. If you've got a project at hand that you can't seem to tackle because you keep getting distracted, set a timer. Say, for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to work on folding laundry and putting it away. You may need 35 minutes to do it in total, but I'd be willing to bet if you put 15 concentrated minutes on it, you'd probably get the majority of it done. And if not, hey, run it back for another 15. Or at least be thankful that you got at least 15 minutes of progress done and continue doing that tomorrow. And what winds up happening in a lot of times in our lives is these things build up because we get so distracted putting out different fires in different locations that we never come back to the other thing until it becomes such a big fire that it calls for our immediate attention. It's the daily maintenance of things, right? If we can become disciplined in doing the things that we need to do from a day-to-day basis, these things don't build up. It's the little things that help us prevent that. So when we focus on, hey, how do I consistently show up and do the things I'm supposed to do in the course of my day to win today? And you do that day after day, week after week, month after month. That's when you start to build out that winning life, because you don't let things sit until they become a problem. You are on top of them. Hey, at most it sits a day while you're handling the other stuff, but then you're right back at it. And I want to be very clear, this does not mean you're going to go 5 for 5 every day for the rest of your life. Winning the day does not mean 100% perfection. I do not have perfect days. Zero. I am 0% perfect. But what I am is consistent. So I'm going to hit 3, 4, 5 of those every day. Some days might be 1. It's going to happen. 1 out of 30 days. It might be a terrible oddball because of whatever reasons. But you're looking at this as overall percentage. Hey, if you knock out 80, 90, 100% of your stuff, call that a win. Again, start with 80. You get 80% of your stuff done today, call that a win. Win 4 out of 7 days, call it a win of a week. Okay, win 3 out of 4 weeks of the month, call it a win for the month. I'm not expecting you to be perfect. I am expecting you to be consistent in effort. Because that you can control. You can't control whatever happens in the outside world that's going to cause things to happen. Okay, you got to be a little bit realistic with yourself. I wish that I could just snap my fingers and allow you to have perfect 5 out of 5 days for the rest of your life. It's not going to happen. But when you can start to understand, hey, winning more than you're losing and build that momentum, then you can start to win even more, win even bigger. Okay, so start small. Start with your timer. Okay, grab yourself one of these. Grab yourself, download an app, go to a website. There's tons of different ways you can do this. Start easy. Start small. One thing at a time. Even if you do this once a day. Try it out. First thing you do when you sit down, set that 15, 20, 25 minute timer, whatever you decide. Block out literally all distractions. Go for it. Nothing is going to happen in that 15 minutes that cannot wait 15 minutes to find out. Go for it. You owe it to yourself. Okay? You have a lot of freaking potential, but you are not yet tapped into it because of all these other things that are pulling you away from being able to be your most effective self. And I want you to start tapping into that possibility that you have. The more you can start to realize that, the more you realize just how strong you are. The more you realize how strong you are, the more capable you are, the more energetic you are, the more momentum you have to carry into those tasks. And that builds confidence. And the more confident you are, the better your output, the happier you feel. Right? It's just this cycle that keeps building and building and building, and it's all positive, but you got to start it somewhere. And if you don't, it builds a cycle in the other way. You start to lose self-confidence. You start to doubt yourself. You start to get anxiety. But you can't look at way down the road. You got to just look at the one thing in front of you right now. That next 15 minutes. And say to yourself, how can I use this 15 minutes in front of me as effectively as possible and get it done? That's it. Win the next 15 minutes. I don't even care if you win your day yet. Win your next 15. Do that. Do it at least once. Okay, at least once in the course of the next 7 days before we get here next Saturday. I want you to win at least 15 minutes of your life. Let me know how it feels.